The Pod Bay Door, a Las Vegas podcast. Were we less ready than the rest of the country?
No, I mean, our economy is different here. And still, they can go ahead and open up all the hotels today.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that they put everybody back to work like the moron that they have who's the mayor. That's what they got to avoid. Just because we're opening it up doesn't mean that you can go hog wild or everything's going to go back the way it was. Back then, I mean, you get jaded over time, but
Sure.
But it looked great. I mean, it had the pictures on the ceilings and the marble, everything was polished, and now people are going to be coming through there. Yeah, they're going to clean it, but you're going to be smoking, and it's just not going to be the same. So I said, this is the last time this place will be without anybody here until they tear it down.
Right.
And I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody there now.
Right.
But it would take something like that. And
I remember you saying that.
Yeah. And you kind of don't think that it would be something like this, so it shut it down. But it shouldn't. I mean, everything was there. These things run in cycles.
Yeah.
And it was time. We've had near misses in the past with I think H1N1.
Yes.
And a couple of others, but it was bound to happen at some point.
Yeah, I don't remember H1N1. You know, obviously there wasn't the furor over it. And maybe there should have been. You know, I mean, we had the communication worldwide that we do now. I don't know why I didn't.
Well, even if you go back early on, I remember Ralph Nader trying to sound the alarm about the avian flu at that time. He said, this could be really bad.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that it didn't mean that the threat wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
It was possible that could have really taken off.
Well, Gates was in front of this 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And whether you give him credence or not, being a tech wizard as he is, suddenly being in the medical field, you know what? Money buys a lot of stuff and scientists, and I think he's done some. I think people say, well, he's got billions and billions. What is 100 million? I'm like, well, 100 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Give people $1,000 out of your bank account right now and see how you feel. But a lot of people were ahead of this, and I'm not quite sure, but I know Vegas wasn't ready like the rest of the country wasn't ready.
Yeah.
But were we less ready than the rest of the country?
No, I mean, our economy is different here. And still, they can go ahead and open up all the hotels today.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that they put everybody back to work like the moron that they have who's the mayor was saying. Okay, fine. But you have to get people to come stay in the rooms.
Yes.
Otherwise, those people who are now back to work are going to go back home because there's nothing for them to do.
Right, and I've seen a lot of talk on social media and in pretty much every format that people can't wait to get back to Vegas. Well, I agree. I think it is a fun place to get back to, and maybe forget about things for a while. But there's two major factors. Three actually. One, Vegas is not going to welcome everyone back. We can't.
No, not all at once.
Two, people are still quite fearful about the situation, and Vegas sort of represents that fear, that proximity fear. And three, and most importantly, people are broke as church mice.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be flying. They're not going to be, coming with big budgets. I think they're going to come. I think the first level of individuals that are going to come in any size group is going to be the looky-loos. What is it like now?
Yeah.
The ones that couldn't come during, the post-zombie apocalypse when everything was just quiet and the lights were out. They want to come and see what it's like now. But the people with the money, with any money, I don't know. And
it's interesting because, from my house, I have a view of the Strip, right? I mean, a full view.
Mm-hmm.
It always looks nice. And if you didn't know any better, you would not know there's anything different because all the lights are still on.
Right.
All the lights are on. And from a distance, it looks like it's business as usual.
Right.
You know, it's just that when you get up close, you realize, hey, there's nobody in the crossing bridges. Hey, there's nobody on the strip. There's nobody walking on the streets.
Right.
And I keep hearing on the news, well, you can have all these casinos full. Hey, the gaming's been down for years, and they have ways of controlling the casino. If that's it, if you have slot machines, just disable every other one or every two or whatever, and you still can have social distancing there or physical distancing. Same thing at the table games.
Yeah.
We can only have 3 players here, whatever. That's not the real issue there. I mean, it's the hotels that are busy, and it's the street. That's where you find it really hard. And even the restaurants can do that. I was watching on the news what Caesars is planning, and it looks good. If they can pull it off, they're saying, now this table, the restaurants can open, but there's only so many tables will be open at one time. That we're putting up the sneeze screens for the front desk people.
Right.
Everyone's wearing a mask. They take your temperature, all kinds of things that they could that they say that they'll do. Now we'll have to see what it's like when it actually in practice.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part. The practical aspect of these programs going into effect, and see if Vegas can handle it. Vegas. I guess we'll talk about Vegas almost as a person. If Vegas gets frustrated with this, is a sneeze guard at a craps table really going to work? Is the removal of buffets really of buffets really necessary? So it's really interesting. My favorite part about this, all the stories, all the depicting Vegas as it's dead and the lights are down, and all these wonderful literary versions of Vegas that people have been putting up. My favorite was Wayne Newton riding a squeaky bike down Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yeah.
If that doesn't signify the end of the world, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and of course, Roy died of COVID-19.
Yeah.
And when I heard that he was sick, I said, "Oh, that doesn't sound good," because he wasn't in great shape anyway.
Man, that's a man, an example of a man who had nothing but fortune and then nothing but misfortune.
Yep.
But he'll be remembered fondly. But welcome back.
Yeah.
We're back in the studio.
Yes. We thought about a Zoom, we thought about it.
Yeah. Zoom has had its troubles. And I think John and I decided to wait. Well, John, we've both been extremely busy.
Yeah. And we talked about this before. I mean, for the agency that I work for, I've always worked from home.
Right.
I've worked from home for 15 years. So it was nothing new to me.
Yeah.
I actually like it in the sense that when I go out, the once a week that I do go out to go shopping or something, that there isn't as much traffic. It's nice. I said, gee, where is everybody? Oh, they're home where they're supposed to be.
Right, exactly.
So, I missed out on 2 business trips that I did not want to take and was dreading. Good.
Yeah.
I still have to do the work, but I got to do it from home.
Yeah. And being a photographer and cinematographer, a lot of my work is based here.
Yeah.
So I was able to catch up on projects, catch up on administration, so I've been quite busy. Plus my house is spectacularly clean.
Mine isn't though. That was a whole thing.
Oh, what happened?
Yeah.
But John and I want to welcome everybody back. If you've connected to us after this long delay, thank you very much. I want to say hello to all the people that actually I've seen with our sort of podcast friends. Chris from Faces and Aces out there in Los Angeles. The guys from Vegas Confessions, one of our biggest fans, Mark A., and everybody that we've connected to, we want to say hello to you. We hope you're doing well. We hope everybody is healthy and happy with their families and can get back to work. But today, John and I have no script. We're just going to go back to the beginning, kind of work our way forward and see what we feel Vegas has really been like. I know that a lot of our contemporaries and colleagues that deal with Vegas were not able to come, obviously, and there's a lot of reports here and there. I've had friends that are casino hosts and dealers and all different types of positions within casinos that have been communicating with me. I've had a couple of pictures, so I have some really interesting insight about what's going on. But let's go all the way back.
Yeah.
My last job here in Vegas was at the Cosmopolitan great folks. They're going to get back online real soon. And then at that point, I started getting little snippets. My mother is directly linked to the CDC. She knows when there's bad food, when there's diseases, and she calls me.
Yeah.
And so she told me about this in China, and I'm like, well, it's China. China's a hotbed of problems. So I didn't pay attention. And then I had a mutual friend of John's and mine call and said, "Did you hear about this?" And I said, "Well, yeah, but it didn't really affect me that much."
Yeah, in the same way we heard of SARS and everything else from before. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's always a foreign location.
Yeah.
And you have no direct link to it, and it's always sort of like just under the movie category. It's not huge. It's like, it's China again. It's South Korea. Well, fast forward a little bit, and I'm starting to go on a trip. I'm getting ready to go to Cancun for a destination wedding. I was not only filming it and photographing it, but I was involved in it as a family member. And so,
because you don't do weddings normally.
I don't do weddings.
Yes. Jamey's doing a wedding.
Terrible things. But I was ready. I was packed. I was on a plane to Cancun, and then it started getting serious, a little more serious. But then I spoke to our fellow podcaster on the show, Julia, and she and I both agreed back then that it really felt fake, and Vegas was not affected by this yet. And it felt fake. It felt like it was.
What felt fake? Just the fear of it?
I honestly thought that it was a seed planted with media to get off the Russia thing for Trump. I really did. And I thought, well, is he capable of that? Of course he is. Is that a really terrible thing to do? Put the fear of a virus, a global pandemic into people because you're worried about, two prostitutes peeing on you in Russia? Well, that's a really big step. So I pulled myself back. Okay. Still packing for Cancun. And then it really started getting serious, and then Vegas started making announcements.
Yeah.
Now, Sisolak, who is our Governor Sisolak, I didn't find him to be particularly a scared individual. But then fast forward a little bit more, he actually became quite worried about this whole situation. And then just as we were days from flying out. And everybody started telling me, "Boy, don't go."
Yeah. I was a little concerned that you wouldn't be able to get back in.
Yes, exactly. That was the concern. It wasn't getting sick; it was getting the hell out of Cancun.
Yeah, because I knew that this thing was pretty serious in the sense that I have a friend, another guy who was an English teacher living in South Korea.
Yeah,
and you remember it hit there pretty fast.
Right.
And South Korea had an excellent response to it.
Yes.
They were testing people and getting results back within like an hour. And he says, wow, where he was at, it was deserted. Mm-hmm. And they really got a hold on that in a hurry. He was saying that, if it comes over there, and then we saw how it spread through Europe. And, we go back to the original, the really bad one, the what's known as the Spanish flu.
1918.
1918. Yeah. It's that there's something about those cultures, and Spain and Italy, because they touch people. That's what they do. Right. They're hugging, and my mom was Italian, so I know her family, and that's what people do when they greet each other. Asians don't. Right. In all Asian cultures, they stand there and they're always distant. Even they see somebody, they kind of give a bow, and in Japan they don't touch each other. So that's going to, as we know, that physical contact really makes something like this spread.
Yeah,
and it's always, to me, what is just so stunning was in such a short amount of time. Now, China notified the World Health Organization December 31st. We got something here that you better know. That it looks like it's getting out of hand.
Right.
December 31st, and within 3 months, it was everywhere. Every state in the United States. Think about it. Who the hell goes to North Dakota? but somebody's got a case, and there's cases up there. There's cases everywhere, every country. Now, there have been some that have done a really good job of keeping it down or keeping it out. Vietnam, for one, Thailand jumped on it. Now they've had cases. Philippines has been I think very good. I mean, pretty much mobilizing, keeping it confined to Manila area. Now there are other cases, but they've been on lockdown for quite some time. Even areas that don't have any cases,
right?
Just out of an abundance of caution.
Well, I think it was an abundance of caution, which is entirely fine. And that ultimately will bring us back to Vegas with that caution. But I also think that for South Korea, for example, including North Korea, they're not concerned about the rights of the individuals. We're concerned about our entire country dropping dead.
Yep.
It's like, put your rights in your pocket for right now. We got to take care of this.
Yeah, and there's also, I think, and I know, having lived over, in Japan,
right?
It was really common for people to say to me, well, we Japanese think, and it's just like, I would never say that about we Americans, right? Just because everybody has they're all different. There's different groups, but there is more of the fact that they do feel like an extended family, because of the fact that they all come from, they're one ethnicity, and so there is that feeling. I find it's in most of those countries, in China, in Japan, in Korea, like you're right. And they do feel, I know South Koreans feel a real brotherhood with the North Koreans, even though they're divided, they're Koreans and they're still family in that regard. So they're more likely to cooperate and say, the Japanese have a term, shogunai, which just means it can't be helped. There's nothing we can do about it. We just put up with it.
Well, in Japan, South Korea, Philippines, and all those others, you didn't see them going into their trunks for their guns and their Second Amendment, because that probably would have ended badly for them.
What I found out in Philippines, like even in areas where there's very few cases, you can leave your house 3 times a week. That's it. Now, we say, well, who's going to know? Right? Oh, no, you go to the store. It's not your day to go to the store. When you're checking out of the store, they want to see your license. They want to see where you live. You live in that area of town? Oh, no. Monday's your day to go out. Yeah. Saturday, put all the shit back. We're not selling you anything.
Wow.
If the cops catch you, there's public shaming.
Yes.
Basically, it's like traffic school. They have an area out in public with chairs set apart. People have to sit there and listen to a lecture about the dangers of this virus and how they're being very irresponsible.
Yes, and I saw, and of course, this type of thing could never happen here.
Yes,
but I saw India, for example, for striking individuals with canes, with the bamboo style. It's astounding. Which is, I guess we could take a cue from them to a point, But back here to Vegas. Yeah. So it's the day I'm leaving.
Yeah,
I'm going to Cancun.
Yeah,
looking forward to it. Still really not affected too badly in my head until I get to the airport and it's empty. I mean, my group, it had already reached us. It hadn't reached the level of where I was getting calls from my vendors, getting calls from my contract people and all of my friends. But when we all got to the airport, here's the group of us leaving, and there's nobody there. There's nobody at the gate. And we got on the plane. There was nobody on the plane. And I was like, uh-oh, what's going on here? So how
many people were on the plane going there?
Well, there were 30 of us and maybe 2 other people.
Wow.
Right. And this was in the
early March.
March 18th.
Yeah,
March 18th.
Okay, a little later. Okay.
And so
that's right. You left on a Wednesday.
Yes.
And I was supposed to be in Phoenix as we were talking about getting together. I was supposed to go on the Monday. In fact, I had a reservation and everything, and I had to cancel the previous Friday.
So the very first point in time that a Las Vegas resident, me, and you saw that the moment was there.
Yeah.
Then I got and actually that was my first flight. Then we went to Phoenix and picked up some more people to go. And then there was even Phoenix Sky Harbor. If you've never been there, you've been there, of course.
Yeah.
Is a hub.
Yeah.
And a giant a pain in the ass, but it's
Yeah.
a giant airport.
It seems to be too small for its size. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
just too busy.
Yeah.
And things. Yeah. It's
And there we were leaving for Cancun, about a 4 hour, 20-minute flight from Phoenix, Arizona. And there it was again, an empty plane, just us. And it was hard for us to let this sort of sink in because we're there. Not only were we there as family and having fun and people getting married, but I was also very focused on what I was doing because it was a full 5-day thing that I was going to film and photograph and everything else, and it was very important to me. So I mean, hadn't hit me yet. So we get to Cancun, and Cancun's airport is a little hectic, a little strange. You got to go through the red light, green light thing, if they're going to check you at customs or not. And then the taxi transportation thing is insane. So we get to the resort, and then I start getting calls. From friends. Did you hear about this? Did you hear about this? They're going to lay us off. They hadn't done it yet. And I said, oh, yeah, I've heard about it.
Now, they'd already started to shut things down, right? I think they like March 15th or thereabouts was when they... Yeah, because, of course, Trump only responded after the stock market took a dump.
Exactly.
Right. Because, hey, you got to do something about the money.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So yes, they had started shutting things down like buffets and things of that nature, but it wasn't a wholesale closure yet. So we went through, got the Cancun thing, had a great time. And then it was time to come home, and then the worry started. Like, and in Cancun, our hotel, it's actually a resort. It's the Valentin Imperial Maya. If you get to Cancun, go there. It is outstanding. But we got this note on our door. We're closing. You need to be moved to another resort.
Ooh.
And at the end of the stay at the Valentin, and you got to realize it's a resort like Las Vegas, giant pools. We're the only ones in the pool. You looked up and that's it.
Wow.
And then we get the note, we're going to have to move you to one of our sister properties because we're closing for good.
Wow.
Yes, until this is over. So they did. We moved to a sister property, equally nice. And then we got a note on our door from them saying,
pack your bags.
Be sure that you're leaving because we're closing. We were. So everybody's concerned. All the while now, all the people that live in Vegas are afraid and people's knowledge of what was going on was still really poor.
Yeah.
They thought we weren't going to be able to get into Vegas from Cancun. And see, that wasn't the case at the time. People didn't understand that. And so they started booking flights early and leaving early. We were the last ones out.
Wow.
I paid money for this, John.
Yes, right.
And I was not going to leave. And we were last ones out. We were the last ones out on the plane. We were very fortunate. We flew first class. There were 6 of us only.
Wow.
On the plane.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So we knew we were going to.
Well, how was? I guess. Well, you're coming into. You're flying directly into McCarran.
Yes.
So, because here's what happened is yeah. I mean, I knew that they were allowing people in because they were telling people in other foreign countries, get your ass back because they're going to close borders everywhere.
Right.
And I saw a nightmare scene at LAX. I've gone through there many times on international flights, so I know the layout. And it showed people, in LAX, when you come in international, there's a big long escalator. You go down there, and then you have the immigration area off there, and you can get in line.
Right.
The line went all the way up the escalator, and then it was just. I said, first of all, they're trying to tell people to keep apart. You can't. It looks like a subway train in Tokyo. I've been on those too. And I thought, holy shit, it's going to take these people hours to get through customs. So that's what I was afraid you were going to run into. No,
you know what? I have to say that as this thing took a hold, and we realized, we were well past the uh-oh moment.
Yeah.
That we were the luckiest people in the world. We flew back on a first class on a 6-person plane. We landed, and you could hear a pin drop. And
did they bump you to first class?
No, we had already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's good.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. They were very nice to us. That's the first place I saw and experienced an individual wearing a mask. Or the flight attendant. So we land.
What airline was it?
American.
Okay.
Not wonderfully accommodating. So we land, and then we get the bags, and then it hits us that we have a problem now with proximity. We knew this was now the new norm, and we had to Uber. And Ubers are never really big cars per se. So it's the first little bit of trepidation I had regarding this and my hometown of Vegas.
Yeah.
I had to get into an Uber with a person I didn't know in a potentially virus-ridden problem. And that's the first time I realized that I was in a different world.
Yeah.
Everything was fine. Obviously, we made it back. So then the closure started happening. Then my phone call started. Oh, Cosmos closed. Oh, Hard Rock's closed. Oh, Margaritaville's closed. And
the Winds were closed.
All my contracts are gone.
Yep.
Just gone, and gone through June because the casinos were complete in their closures. Yeah. And it was stark. And I'm like, I am now without jobs.
Yeah.
And I thought this was it. This is when I realized Vegas is now changed forever, but only a little bit, And I thought to myself, well, let's see what happens. And then it started getting worse and worse and worse. And people that discuss Vegas and aren't here really don't know the completely demoralized nature of our city. It's bad.
Yeah.
Now, is there a large population that aren't affected? Yes, as there are in every state. But Vegas, it was the first time when it was kind of like we were up against a cliff and you have this monster coming at you. And there's no place to go. There's no idea you can think of. There's nothing to do. You can't figure it out. And I pride myself on always being able to figure out a problem and a way out of it.
Yeah.
That was it. We had to go over the cliff.
Yeah.
And there we were. Without jobs, without.
The unemployment rate I saw yesterday here is 28%.
Yeah.
In Nevada.
Now, how does that compare to the national?
It's higher than the national. And I know they're saying that this would be ground zero for, in a lot of ways, because they are so tied to the economy is so dependent on other people coming here from outside.
Right.
And now you look at somebody like, what Florida, and they did the reckless and, irresponsible move of keeping the beaches open for spring break.
Right.
And they know they've documented at least 40 people being infected with COVID-19
right.
from one of the places that was catering to the college students. But of course, those cases all went back to their home states. They went back to New York.
Yes.
So that's New York's problem now, not Florida's. But those cases get counted in New York and not in Florida. So, and there was even some talk that maybe it really took off from Las Vegas, right? CES. No, that's not what happened. Now they have good ways of tracking, the virus in terms of different markers. Because remember, it's not unlike a bacteria. It's not really alive, right? It needs a host to reproduce. Bacteria doesn't, and it can reproduce itself. So they're able to look at different markers and find out where it came from. In Italy, it came from a Chinese tourism. People come over from there and went to Italy. It's a popular place, and it only takes once you get in the local population. Like I said, they're much more social,
right?
Touching and everything, and it just took off. I think in the U.S. it came from Europe, from New York, California. I can't recall where it came, but it probably started in the Bay Area, and the governor there. I mean, California got hit pretty hard. He was shutting stuff down a week before anybody else did, right?
Yeah, there were states that were proactive.
Yeah,
Vegas was not proactive per se. but it did the right things at the right times or close to it.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm a little, well, not a little, I'm proud of Vegas for not kowtowing to this strange movement of we're going to, and this is back when the real, the real bubble burst, is people said we're going to do what we're going to do. It's like, well, no, we did group together as a community and adhere to the policies that our governor decided to give us. Now I know there was a lot of grousing. There's a lot of social media, a lot of anonymous complaining, which is common with everything.
Yeah.
But Vegas towed the line. And I think that's why we did pretty well. Now, I didn't realize that our governor was going to be both visibly and on a policy nature petrified. And I think that's what drove his policies. And maybe that's fine. Maybe that's our version of South Korea. It's just like, well, I don't live or die. We're going to save our country, our country, and that's kind of what Sisolak did in an American version. But Vegas fought him. I mean, our businesses fought him very hard and are still fighting him. We have a lot of strangely gyms that are saying, we're going to open come hell or high water, screw the governor. And it's like, well, no, you're not.
Yeah. And you still need to have people show up.
Yeah. They're going and a gym of all things.
Yeah. And the gym, there's a lot of problems with the gym being a hotbed. Now, one of the places that I used to like to go to was the sauna place. And I feel sorry for those people because I thought early on, I'd always thought about getting a sauna for my house.
Mm-hmm.
I said, if I had one in my house, first thing I would do from coming out doors, if I'm going shopping, get in the sauna because I know viruses in general, and this one in particular, don't like the heat.
Mm.
And they know that. You get it up over 98.6, this thing just dies in a second. So the sauna would be really good. I mean, it elevates your body temperature to 120 degrees. You're really sweating and sweating stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
But they were closed. Originally, they said, well, it's because they consider them part of hair salons, not an essential business. Then I got an email from, we reopened. No, we got closed again. Why? Well, because now they decided to put them in with the gyms.
Right.
Yeah. Now,
exactly.
You think about a gym, there's a couple of ways. If you're not wearing a mask, and if you're working out, you're not going to be wearing a mask.
Right.
Because it hampers your breathing. Is people who talk loudly have or spread out more particulate into the air than somebody who whispers or doesn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
So sure, sneezing, we know that you wear a mask not to protect yourself, but to prevent the spread if you are infected and don't know it, because a lot of people are asymptomatic. But if you sneeze and you're blowing the virus out in the air, somebody could get it, could land on somebody's arms or whatever. But also if you talk loudly,
right.
If somebody's talking loudly, it spreads. If you're working out, you're huffing and puffing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, assuming you're actually there to work out and not sit there and scratch your ass, and and look good and look around and check out the girls
like the gym rats.
Yes, the gym rats. Oh, we worked out for 3 hours. No, you didn't. If you worked out, you can't work out for half an hour. I mean, if you really worked out, right?
Right.
But anyhow, yeah. So,
well, people predicted Vegas to be a like you said, a hotbed. We were definitely going to be in the red zone.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, we were never in the red zone. Because of the nature of Vegas, everybody in power, our administration, knew that it's got to shut down. And the bosses knew we have to shut down.
Even Wynn shut things down.
Wynn shut things down. And I mean, both John and I both know, and we've met these individuals, and money is it for them.
Yep.
And for them to make this decision, they understood that Vegas is a grenade waiting for that pin to go.
Yeah.
And it never did. And good for them.
Yeah. Because again, if people are coming here and being infected, and then they're going home.
Yeah.
It registers in their states, but the long term is that they don't want the reputation of we can't go there, it's not safe because we might get sick. And as long as you're showing that, look, we're going to do what's it hurts us, but it's temporary. We know that it'll come back. We shut it down now, and then when we come back, we were talking about what they're going to do. They're going to do the sneeze guards for the front desk people. It protects the front desk people. It protects the guests.
Right.
Wiping things down, the machines, and only every other one or whatever.
In the beginning, Vegas was headlong towards sharing a spot with the cruise lines.
Yeah.
And very quickly corrected itself and veered away.
Yeah.
Because Vegas's reputation has already taken hits in the recent past. And
the mayor didn't help.
And the mayor didn't help. That I was just about to bring that up.
Yeah.
So here we are. And I have to say, the people that went out and took valid pictures of photographs of Las Vegas, good for you guys. Good for everyone documenting it. All the little combat guerrilla drones that went up that aren't allowed. I guess that's a good thing, because it marks a point in our time, our city's time. But rest assured, I've seen a lot of the footage, a lot of the photographs, and I can tell you that between color grading in video and Lightroom and Photoshop for the stills, don't believe what you're seeing. Vegas is already pretty gray downtown.
Yeah.
And gray in general without the lights going out. So I saw some of the composited and constructed shots. It was pretty barren, but not the way it was depicted.
I thought that's why I thought it'd be nice if you took pictures, because you would have gotten the feel of it.
Yeah.
Because I see it on the news even now. There's still cars going up and down the Strip.
Of course.
And there's still people walking out on there. They're not staying there in the hotels. And Bellagio, they haven't drained the fountain.
Right.
As far as I know, they haven't drained the lake. I mean, they don't have the fountain show, but they got water in it. And
no, the fountain show began again.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, testing.
Good. Yeah,
they have to test it and make sure. So here we are. Everything's shut down.
Yeah.
Our groceries have, like everybody else, have finally, gotten their shit together.
Yeah.
And we're going out a little bit. We have to go get the paper towel that doesn't exist and the toilet paper that you have to buy per roll.
Yeah.
And all the other things.
I never understood that run on toilet paper. It has to be women. I'm sorry, but it is, because we know they have to use more toilet paper than guys.
Right. And all the water's gone and everything else. I always find it funny. Yeah. I mean, our services are being shut down.
The thing is, that's international. When I live in Japan, I go to the department store, I go shopping, and I look around there, the toilet paper stand is there. Oh shit, it's empty. Mm-hmm. Is there a typhoon coming? Because that was it. Yes. Oh, okay. I didn't hear the news, right? And that was it. If there's no toilet paper, it meant that there was a run on it, because people are afraid everything's going to shut down for some reason.
Right.
Why would it shut down? Well, you can't predict an earthquake, so that's not it. But you can predict a typhoon. When a typhoon's coming. So I would say, oh shit, a typhoon must be coming out. There's no toilet paper.
Yeah. Right. So the sort of movie Contagion ghost nature, we're kind of moving through that now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go out. We have to go to the store. We have to go to this. We have to go to that. Everything is still shut down like everybody else. Vegas is no different. We just have more self-employed gig workers than most states.
Yeah.
So, and as John mentioned, here she is, Carolyn Goodman.
Oh yeah, I will say this for her. She looks damn good for her age. She's 81.
Yeah.
Well, now, granted, I mean, hair dye and face putty,
Yeah. Now, I liked Oscar. I've met Oscar many times.
Yeah, he's a likable enough guy.
And he was a good mayor, because he had a great reputation, a wonderful story, and I really do think that he had the best intentions and hopes for our city.
What's the name of his restaurant? Something like Booze and Broads or something like that.
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, but it's something like that, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's a throwback to our father's ages.
Right,
so
right. It was like the old Manhattan.
Yeah.
Where they filmed Casino.
Yeah.
But here's Mrs. Goodman.
Yeah.
And she goes national. She doesn't save this for the local stuff first to test the waters. She goes right to national, And Anderson Cooper.
Yeah.
Really? You're going to go against Anderson Cooper, who's already defended himself against all different types of things, including being gay.
Yeah.
And she's gonna say what she says to Anderson Cooper.
Yeah. And the thing was, is that it wasn't like, it reminded me of the Katie Couric, Sarah Palin interview,
yeah.
where they kept saying, oh, she didn't do any. Katie Couric was about as milquetoast as you can be.
Right.
She was throwing Sarah Palin softballs, and she was whiffing on them.
Yep.
Right? Don't blame her. She's not throwing hardballs. And it was the same thing. Anderson, I mean, he didn't have to say anything. She was just there digging herself a hole and then just kept making it worse.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And rest assured, all of us, all Las Vegas residents, no matter what your political affiliation, just one of my eyes just closed.
Yeah.
It was such a cringe.
Especially when he was trying to show how easily the virus could spread. And he was saying, this is from China. Well, this isn't China. Well, we know that, but the Chinese are still human beings, and the virus spreads the same. Because regardless of what Donald Trump says, don't call it the China virus. The virus itself does not say, well, I'm Chinese or I'm not.
Right.
Where it originated, I mean, if you're going to do that, then you have to go back in history and call the Spanish flu the American virus. Because that's where it originated. They know that now, all right? They've been able to say that it started in an army camp, in an army base in Kansas, and it was introduced to Europe in World War I, and then it was brought back by the troops. All right, so they don't call it the American virus; it's the Spanish flu.
Right. Yeah, and I'm surprised by his move next, Mr. Cooper. Going to Sisolak, our governor.
Yeah,
but then it made sense. Like, well. Yeah, because the mayor is people. I don't know what it's like in other states, but our mayor is a figurehead.
Yeah.
Administratively relatively weak.
Almost like royalty in the sense of you go places, they don't really have any say. They're just a figurehead.
A true ribbon cutter.
Yeah. They may as well get some showgirl, I would think. That's who I'm going to vote for next. Oh, I don't vote in Las Vegas because I don't live in Las Vegas. I live in Henderson.
Yeah. But
topless mayor. That's what I want.
One would hope. But Sisolak, it was painful, but funny to but painful and funny to watch him respond to Anderson Cooper, because I'm sure he wanted to say way more controversial things about Mayor Goodman, but he kept it, it down, and he said, no, we're not doing any of that, and he in no uncertain terms he made it clear that the mayor has no power here whatsoever.
Yeah. One of the things I liked what Sisolak said, and it was just an off the cuff comment. Yeah, he was giving one of his debriefs. He's up 30. He's not wearing a tie. Yeah, and he just said, "I sorry, I'm not wearing a tie. I couldn't find it."
Right.
And you know what it was? He wears the tie when he's in front, and then he takes it off and he hangs it in his office or something. Sure. But oh shit, I gotta give a press conference, and he's busy. Right. And where's my tie? I can't find out the hell with it. I'll go out without it.
I don't need a tie.
I don't need a tie.
Yeah, I don't need to hear a man speak and have a tie. Yeah. Okay. So here we are, and we're present day. What's Vegas like? It just opened. Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah. I mean, some of the outlying, I know some of the station casinos are going to open. Mm-hmm. Station casinos have said they're opening, I think 7 of their 10. They're not opening the ones downtown. Right. Interesting in that those are the ones that they said more or less cater, the ones downtown for station casino, cater to Hawaiian tourists. Mm-hmm. A lot. And that's like, hey, I do know a couple of people live in Hawaii. When they come to Las Vegas, that's where they stay. Right. And they know that the station casinos are mostly the locals joints. Green Valley Ranch, Red Rock, those cater more to the locals. So they can open for the local crowd. Some of the restaurants are going to open, but the ones downtown are going to stay closed.
Yes. Yeah. And rightly so, because a lot of people don't take time to do the math. Yeah. It doesn't behoove them to open. Yeah. Not right now. Yeah. Not right now. So I contacted a couple friends and had them send me some pics, and there's absolutely staff in the casinos getting ready. Obviously engineering is pulling their hair out. They got a one hand full of duct tape and the other hand full of dreams trying to get this actually to happen.
I'm sure they were happy at first because they could finally get caught up
Yeah,
and all
right.
the shit they had to get done.
Exactly.
All the carpets that, let's just really shampoo everything really good. We don't have to worry about blocking it off and apologizing to everybody because we're making them walk around.
If you ever want to thank somebody and give them a tip, find a cleaner or an engineer in a hotel and give them a tip.
Yeah. They call them engineers, but they're maintenance guys,
they're
right?
Maintenance guys,
and sometimes some of the stuff they had to do when we were at the Venetian was bullshit. They had to open the safes. Remember, they were newfangled idea of the in-suite safe where you punched in the code. And we had people thinking it was a microwave oven.
Right.
Or some, I didn't know what I did. I put my wallet and all my money in there and then I pressed the code and you didn't write down what the number was. No, I didn't. Why would you put it in there and close the door when you know it's a safe and not know how to open it first? I would try it out first to make sure, okay, I see what to do. I got it. Now I'll put my money in it.
There you
go.
But
that's me.
There you go. But there is absolutely staff in our hotels and casinos. They're getting ready. They're getting things ready. Every casino is even within the same corporate structure is a little different.
Yeah.
Their splash guards are different. Their table measurements are different. It's a very difficult thing what's happening here in Vegas. Lots of math. I mean, they're essentially removing the hooks. And for people who play blackjack and craps and everything else, the hook is the corner seat. They're getting rid of the corner seats. They're using that space to reconfigure the tables. They're moving entire carousels of machines, and those carousels are then being separated. There's so much going on.
Yeah.
And the cleaners, the floor cleaners are being trained on how to do, clean the every part of the machine. And they're even discussing cleaning the insides of the machines.
Yeah, and I heard now that there's some of the slot machines will be self-cleaning. That they have the technology where they'll say, wait until we sanitize it, because if one person's playing it, that's fine. You can play it, Right. But when that person leaves and now it's empty, they got to clean it off.
Yeah.
So I think certainly with the table games and that sort of environment that they can control. And we know how they control things with security. You can't come in, you're wearing a mask. Hey, there's a party, go around the side door, whatever, right? They have ways of controlling that, eye in the sky. So as long as the greed doesn't get to them, they could say, we're going to work at 65% capacity or whatever.
Right.
Now, I was concerned about a week ago when they started to open, restaurants were allowed to open. I saw somebody post a picture on Facebook of a local place. And what disturbed me was in the background, I could see that there was no space between the tables. That there were two tables and people had their backs together. It wasn't like there was a large party. Yeah, there were maybe 6 or 8 people at one table and 6 or 8 at the other, but there was no space between them. So it was just basically either they thought it was just laissez-faire, fuck it.
Yeah.
I know it was clean when we opened today and no one's going to get sick. Or it's just like, no, I really should shut down that table or make that party move somewhere else. Just at least of the illusion of social, because sure, you get up and you go to the bathroom or wherever it is that you're going in and out, you're going to be close in contact with people.
Yeah.
But again, think about the numbers and how rapidly this virus spread, not just, in one community, but around the world.
Exactly.
I mean, you cannot find a country that doesn't have some cases.
Yeah, exactly.
And in some cases that say, well, they don't have any, it's because they didn't test it.
Well, I remember a story from one of the other podcasters regarding a security issue. I won't go into it, but it was it sort of the individual came up against security, and security was a little overreactive, but whatever. It didn't work itself out to the customers or podcasters liking. I spoke to a friend that is a security supervisor at the Venetian Hotel, our alma mater.
Oh, yes.
I know you're not thrilled it didn't burn down.
No, yeah, I'm not
during
thrilled.
The virus.
At least with the owner in it,
right? But either way, I spoke to him, and rest assured, and I'm very confident in saying this across the board, that they're not kidding about the rules they're going to put in place.
No, Adelson has been, and I wonder what the influence is of his wife, because we know his wife's a medical doctor.
Yes.
And that he was still paying people full time.
Yeah.
Until I forget when, but they plan to open. And I know that they had something like, 800 different steps they were going to take to keep it. So I thought, well, at least she's got his ear.
Yeah.
You know, that he's listening to that and realizing that. And the same thing is that if if you do take those precautions, and even if they're strict or say, no, we can only allow so many people in, like some of the supermarkets were doing at first.
Mhm.
When I went to Costco, because I got to take advantage of being old.
Yes.
And I'm in there with the people like, ma'am, the Depends are right over there,
Right.
Yeah, they're over there. So I got to go with all the old people. And, going to Costco the first time, I went April 1st. So just remember that because April Fool's Day. And they had probably 25 people in line ahead of me. This was before they even opened because they were opening earlier for the seniors.
Right.
And they allowed so many people in, and then they stopped. I had to wait 15 minutes.
Right.
10, 15 minutes for letting more else in. It made shopping really nice because how Costco is?
Mhm.
I mean, it's usually so crowded, even though it's such a big store.
Yeah.
And the aisles are big. It's usually, Jesus, I got to maneuver the cart around. No, it was just like, hey, this is really pretty nice. I like it. I didn't mind waiting in line.
Yeah.
If I could always shop like this and I just have it open and,
Yeah.
But because that they've taken these precautions, I feel safer there. If they do that with the hotel, then fine. Because if it's some other place, we don't give a shit. You're gonna say, do I really want to go there? They're not really being careful, even though it is, until this thing settles itself, until they find the treatment or a vaccine.
I know the casinos it's a multi-pronged plan. They're going to try out what they're putting in place now, installing now, and see what works, what doesn't.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. And then they're going to refine it and rebuild it and try their best for their incoming people. Hopefully there will be some. And then slowly phase those out into something that is more permanent. I personally think the sneeze guards are going to go away almost immediately.
Yeah.
I don't see them being as practical as everybody says. Maybe the one between the dealer and the players, I don't know. We'll see what stays. But they have a multi-pronged plan, and then basically phasing in and out different things.
Yeah, nice thing at the concierge desk, and then nobody could poke us in the chest.
Yes.
That would be good, yes.
No, throw things, pens and shot glasses.
They could not hit us, right? Then we could stick our tongue out at them and just press our face right up against the glass, right?
Oh, dear. So what about gaming? Well, if you just put aside everything that's going to be installed, and hopefully it will still be fun playing a hand of blackjack with all the things installed. Obviously, you're not going to be touching things. Craps, you have to touch the dice, but there's a whole system now of washing the dice. I've seen the examples and the pre-wash that they go through and everything else.
Is it like a golf ball washer?
Essentially,
yeah.
Like yeah. And what that also causes is increased security, because that's another way to switch dice and put bad dice in.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I mean,
you know what I've been seeing also, because another group that was hit like this, and they don't have any work anymore. Mm-hmm. Are magicians.
Yeah.
Right? They can't. Now they've been doing Zoom shows.
Yeah.
I thought, but really? I said, the corporate Zoom show.
Yeah.
And, you have everybody on this. So they have to adjust their effects, because how do you tell someone to pick a card?
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And luckily Zoom got through its malware problems.
We've used Zoom at my agency for years now, 3 or 4 years, I guess. So I'm used to that. I mean, I got a full account and everything, but I never got Zoom bombed. But I've heard that, it did happen to somebody I work with.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. All right. So where are we today, right now? What's the newest thing? Well, the newest thing, which actually affected me, was that Nevada, pardon me, Nevada, or Las Vegas and Nevada finally put in place the self-employed pandemic unemployed insurance. And we are able to file for that, and which is what I think separates Vegas from a lot of the country in general. Not that the country, other states don't have the gig economy and self-employed natures, but Vegas is sort of like the leader in that. Our strippers, our dancers, our magicians, me, and everything else. We're all 1099 style employees that had no recourse.
So you're going to get a lap dance in a hazmat suit.
If it's there,
what I thought would really, I don't know why they haven't caught on, but talking about masks the best thing to wear, I mean, it will protect you, not just from infecting others
Yes.
is a diving bell. I thought about it. Getting a diving bell with the oxygen. You got your own oxygen tank too.
There you go.
Just go out in public like that.
We had an acquaintance that made us Golden Knights masks.
Oh, okay.
So we have custom Golden Knights.
Now I do feel, and I haven't had a chance to need to go.
Yeah.
But I got some checks I need to deposit in the bank. I feel a little reluctant going in the bank, looking like Jesse James. You know, because for a while that was my mask. I said, no, I'm going to wear this. I'm going to look like the the anarchist, and I wore a red bandana.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool. But then I went out and I got an actual black mask.
Yeah, I've gone out. I always wear a mask.
Yeah.
I think it's the thing that should be done. And in many of the places here in Vegas, it's mandatory.
Yeah.
And they are checking. But I have seen, and I was telling you about this in the pre-show, there are two groups of individuals that don't wear masks.
Yeah.
The millennial 20-something age couple that don't wear masks. And they always seem to have Starbucks. And I'm not kidding. I'm not saying this is a joke. Every time I see them, they have Starbucks cups that they've purchased that day and no masks. And they just seem oblivious. I don't know if it's their age or not. And the other, which is really strange, older women, 50 to 60, and with no outlying health conditions. They're not obese. They just seem everyday, normal 50 to 60-year-old women at the grocery store not wearing a mask.
Yeah, see, I see men at that age group very often like that. And it's kind of like they're being deliberately being belligerent.
Yeah.
So fuck them. But it's but yeah. Now it's funny when I was talking with my son, and he really didn't go out too much. But he would wear a mask if he did.
Now your boy he's
19.
19.
But he said early on when it was that, oh, really, young people, this is just not bad. It's just like the flu. It's older people with health conditions, and I started thinking about it. I said, I'm old enough now. Of course, I can remember 1980s with AIDS. Right. They were saying at first, no, there's only 4 groups, right? There's Haitians and homosexuals and drug users, right. IV drug users and hemophiliacs. If you're not one of those 4 groups, you don't worry about. And then it's like, well, even if you've got it, if it doesn't kill you in 2 years, you're out of the woods. And we all know that that was what they thought then, and they learned more about it. But at that time, he said something that was interesting. He said, you're looking at this, he goes, it's old people, as he says, old people, however old is when you're 19. Because, it's the old people.
30 and up.
Yeah, he says, He said, see, the old people are reacting to COVID-19. Or that time we just call them the coronavirus. They're reacting to, the old people are upset and the young people are, He said, it's the opposite with climate change. He said, the old people don't seem to give a shit because they're going to be dying anyway. So it doesn't affect them because we're talking 30, 40 years down the line when this stuff hits. He goes, the younger people are the ones who are taking concern because, hey, wait a minute. I'm only going to be, I should still be around, 30, 40 years from now. So I don't want to have all, that type of thing. I think we should change things now. It's the older people, fuck it. So now, though, I've noticed that younger people, and particularly with him, he's saying, they're taking this a little more seriously as we've gotten to know more about it. Yes. And that's really one of the things that, Dr. Fauci and others have said. There's still a lot, we keep learning stuff. They thought originally that if you were not showing symptoms, you couldn't spread the virus. That's how it is with most viruses, but not this one. In fact, you are more likely to spread it. And it makes it worse because you feel fine. I'm not sick. I don't have anything wrong with it. Oh, but you could be spreading it, right? Right. So that's something else that they're learning stuff about this all the time. Yeah. So until they really get a feel for it, that's why they're saying, hey, and really, if everybody honestly stayed home and did not go out of their house for any reason, you need something maybe you'll have the National Guard deliver it to you. I don't know. Right. But stay in your house. If you come out, you'll be shot on sight. We would eradicate the virus because it would not have any host. If people were sick, they're home, they can't get to the hospital, they died. Right. Well, okay. But then there would be no more virus unless somebody else introduced it from outside the environment.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's just the way it is.
See, I like poor old Dr. Fauci. I'm glad he
Very
had to
much.
self quarantine because I think he needed a nap.
Yeah. Well,
That
no,
man
I mean,
looked
he was the only bright, he said, sit down, asshole, talking about Trump.
Yeah.
I want to hear what this guy has to say because he's the smart one. He's the guy with the brains in the room. He's the guy who's he's the expert. Right. Not you telling us to mix, make our own mustard gas at home and inhale it. That'll kill it. Yeah, it will. And scorch your lungs at the same time.
Okay. So since you brought it up, obviously COVID-19.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for a band to come out with that name. It might be a few
there
more
will
years.
be.
Yeah.
And a movie and blah, blah. Obviously, COVID-19 from the beginning has been politicized.
Yeah.
And it continues to be so. It's a keystone for somehow the Second Amendment. Interesting.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
And now he ordered the churches open because they're an essential business. I don't think so.
No, you can worship from your house for a while longer. Now, that being said, yes, it was politicized. But do you think any part of the virus issue from when we started, March 6th, and I went to Cancun, to today.
You started it, Jamie.
To today, do you think any part of this was overstated or even falsified?
You mean the danger of it? Or
yes.
No, I don't think so. No. And the other thing is, we could say unemployment is 28%. Mm-hmm. Sure, there's a political side. You could say that Trump's up for re-election. Mm-hmm. The unemployment rate's 28%. You say, yeah, but I'm not. He should have acted sooner. He did not. He sat around with his thumb up his ass until it was really too late. Mm-hmm. I mean, and then we know with something like this, it isn't all of a sudden. It takes a couple of weeks.
Right.
But he was warned about it even 3 years ago. Fauci had said that, during your administration, this is likely to happen.
Right.
Because this thing goes in these cycles, and he's an expert on it. So that didn't come as a surprise, that something like this was going to happen. I also know that, really it's short term as things become, it might take 18 months, who knows, before people feel like, I think I can take a trip somewhere right now. I'm back to work full time. I got over that. And getting the money from the feds, they should have done a lot more. Instead of being a money grab for corporations, as they always do, they're always the first ones in line in the welfare line, and then pointing the finger at everybody else. Fuck them. Let their stockholders, for a change, not get a dividend check. They're not doing any work anyway for that money, right? So if they would have sent that out to everybody, and everybody's got their money, even for a few months, stay home. Here, I'm paying you your full salary or almost. You have no reason to go out. If you go out, we'll take your money away from you, throw you in jail or whatever it was. Follow the guidelines, and we'll beat this thing.
Now, at 100,000 plus dead.
Yeah,
I don't know what we stand at today.
That's about where we're at now. And by the time this podcast gets posted,
it'll be more. Essentially double the high influenza deaths per year.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
But that isn't. I believe it's 50,000 worldwide of influenza.
Well, the other thing is one of the ways, again, it gets politicized, and they try to say, well, more people died of the flu. The flu season is usually a full year or 6 months if they count. This had only been 2 months.
Yes.
I mean, you think about it, it's killed more people than U.S. soldiers died in Vietnam in 17 years, right? It just, that's my phone.
No, it's okay.
So it's going to get worse. I mean, it would have been worse if we didn't do anything, and it would have been better, obviously, if we'd started earlier.
Right.
But it's not done yet. That's the whole thing. Is that there are still and they do have to worry about a research. I think of it this way: let's say somebody's 50 pounds overweight, and they're going to go on a diet. And they go on a diet and they start losing weight, and all of a sudden they lost 25 pounds. Great. And then they say, well, hey, I lost 25 pounds. I'm almost there. Man, I'm tired of eating cabbage and broccoli. I'm going to splurge one meal. Great. Well, why don't I just make it the weekend? I'll get back on that diet on Tuesday. And you know what happens? You get back to where you were before. You gain back all the weight you lost and maybe a few extra pounds on top of it. That's what they got to avoid. Just because we're opening it up doesn't mean you can go hog wild or everything's going to go back the way it was.
No, and now is the time that unfortunately Vegas and all other cities figure out who made it out economically.
Yeah.
I mean, I know businesses that have gone, they're done.
Yeah.
They're done.
Yeah.
They're not coming back. I mean, and there should be no embarrassment because, Victoria's Secret's on its way out, closing 250 stores.
I got an email from Victoria's Secret, right? Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day, and here's the 20-something, fitness model with the visible abs. I thought, no, I don't think she looks like a mother to me.
But Hertz filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, like I said, good.
Bath and Body Works closed 51 stores. I mean, it's happening. I think the next phase of this virus, which in my opinion,
and who else always comes out on top? Jeff Bezos.
Yep.
Amazon. He's on his way to becoming the world's first trillionaire.
Right. Yeah. And that's because he hasn't done anything extra for us.
Yeah.
Now we're going to see the companies. For example, for people who listen to podcasts about gaming and for gaming, Aristocrat, IGT, the actual makers
of the games, sure.
I have acquaintances, I have friends that have been laid off, been fired, just not fired, but removed permanently. The Aristocrat is a company out of Australia, and they're having to trim back, and they're trimming back all of their Las Vegas location. IGT is an amazing number that they're getting, laying off. So it is a serious problem in Las Vegas, which will directly affect the casinos, which will directly affect the experience of the people coming in, if there are any coming in now.
Yeah, and there are a couple of good things have happened with this overall. People say, well, I lost jobs. That's the downside. Been great for the environment. Not so many cars out there. Places are shut down. Air is cleaner.
Right.
Gas prices have plummeted because people aren't driving anywhere. I'm sure traffic deaths are down. Domestic violence probably up, but I'm making light of
it is if you live with your wife.
But some of the hotels are announcing that when they do open, no resort fees and free parking again.
Yes.
So those are some things that they're trying to stimulate people coming back, and that's the whole thing. It will come back. I really do think so.
I do too.
It's not going to happen. Not fast.
Yeah.
But like anything else, it's like I said, losing weight or whatever. It's going to take some time.
And I've already heard people start complaining about how they're not offering discounts or deep enough discounts. I'm like, well, no, they're not going to.
Yeah.
Because they have to make a profit.
Yeah.
And they can't give away rooms for free to hope you guys come, after that.
Yeah. And, I lost out on a good opportunity myself because I had been contacted by the State Department about going to Laos to work with them on an assessment for a year. And I was really interested in that. And then they said, well, we have to suspend the program. This was in early March.
Yeah.
And they said, sorry, because of COVID-19, we're shutting down. I haven't heard back. So
I'm sorry about that.
Maybe next year.
So I have one last thing to bring up.
Yep.
And I can't say my ear has been to the ground 100% for this, but I have not seen or heard anything from the Raiders. I have not heard any announcements about what's going on with the Raiders until I looked this morning, and Mark Davis hasn't said a thing because I think they stopped him from talking. He's making all of us mad, all of his fans mad too. But I know that construction has continued.
The stadium looks almost done.
It's almost yeah. On an interior level, there's a lot to do, and that's going on right now. And they stopped very briefly. They may even sort of skirted the law.
One of the guys one of the construction workers was sick.
Yes,
with COVID-19.
Yes.
Yeah.
But really, no big announcements, no PR driven. Hey, we're doing this or we're doing that. It's just that they're going to go through their Oakland season. And I think they're waiting for 2021.
Yeah. Well, Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, was telling the 49ers basically that, or people don't expect football to start right away. It might not be till November.
Right.
I'm even wondering, they're talking about the hockey. Now they've agreed maybe 24 teams will come back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why, honestly? Because, the hockey season usually starts in the late fall, or, it's late summer, early fall is when they start up, right? They start September, right? When baseball is usually winding down.
Right.
Hockey and football are starting up. If you're going to have hockey in the summer, when it doesn't belong, what about the off season? Because we know how their playoff season is going to take a couple months. Are they going to go right up and start the next season right away? They're not going to be playing with fans. Right. Now, I know that people, that's the other thing is that, sports, you turn on Sports Sunday. Is there anything worse than watching a golf tournament? Yes. Watching a 5-year-old golf tournament. They're playing golf and they'll say up in the corner there, PGA 2009. Oh, it was dull the first time around. I want to watch it 10 years later.
Again, ESPN classics.
Yes, classics, and even the Bay Area Sportsnet, which used to be NBC out of San Francisco. They're doing nothing but showing old. Show the old Giants World Series games. That's great. The Warriors, the 49ers, great. But now they're really digging down deep. Classic Warriors Hawks. When was that a classic game? Steph scored 52 points. He scored 52 points a lot of games. So they're just trying to find some other game that we can put this on TV for people. Yeah. I already saw that one. I don't want to watch it again.
Our lives are forever changed for sure.
Yeah. Then it gets you in that mindset that your sports teams always win.
Yes.
And then it's just like hey, it's the superhero is going to survive at the end of the movie. So
then you realize you're from Buffalo.
Yeah. That's right. It's just like, okay. Yes.
Well, John, it was good to see you.
Good seeing you too.
And to everyone who's connected to us, we welcome you back, and we hope you can welcome us back. Subscribe, comment,
and let us know what it's like where you're at.
Let us know. Tell us what's going on. There's Indian gaming facilities everywhere. We'd love to hear about that. I know Phoenix and Arizona opened up theirs.
Yes.
I don't know.
Long lines. I saw that.
Yeah, long lines. I don't know what to what reception, but I'd love to hear that. Comment about what we're talking about. Give us fact check us. Give us the information that you know. We'd love to talk to you about that. And I promise you, if you want to know something, I can be your boots on the ground. If it's safe to go, I will go and find out the information you want to find out. I know a lot of people can't, pre-study about what's going on in Vegas and figure out what research is doing. So let me know. I'll be glad to check into it for you. But we are glad to be back. We're going to try to keep going with this weekly. Hopefully, but because John is terribly busy.
Yes. Yes. And, also the Psycho Las Vegas they didn't say it was canceled.
No.
I say it was canceled. They said it was postponed till August of 2021. Hey, that's a year from now. That means you didn't have one. No. Postpone means if it's in August, you're going to have it in November. That's postponed. You're canceling it this way here. They don't necessarily have to give you your money back. They just say, well, you're paid up for next year.
All right. Oh, I see. Interesting. Yes. Well, John will keep you informed on that, of course. But again, we hope everybody's happy and healthy and getting through all of this, and that your individual areas and communities are opening up and you're able to live a normal life or whatever's left of normal. But we definitely appreciate everybody that are our fans now and in the future.
And don't forget to wash your hands.
Wash your hands right now.
Right now.
But for John, this is Jamey, and we will see you very soon.